my easy sourdough recipe. This recipe makes 2 of them. Take out your scale, place your bowl on the scale and zero it out. 680 grams of warm water. This water is about 100 degrees, 200 grams of active bubbly sourdough starter. I fed this about 6 hours ago. It's doubled in size, so it's ready to use. We're gonna use our whisk and give this a good mix until it's incorporated. Here's how it looks right now. It's kind of just floating. Give it a good mix until it looks like almost like milk. Now that that's all mixed and foamy, we're gonna add 1,000 grams of bread flour. I use King Arthur unbleached. I love these containers for my flour. They keep it super fresh. Take this off our scale and we're gonna mix this together. You could use your whisk or your hands here. I start with my whisk and then I go with my hands. You wanna make sure there's no clumps of flour and it's very incorporated. So you should have this messy dough left. You're gonna take these shower caps and you're gonna cover the bowl. All the products I use in this video, I'll link in the description so you can buy whatever you need to get started. Now you're gonna put this in the oven with the light on for 30 minutes. I find that's the perfect temperature for this to start rising. Don't turn the oven on, just the oven light. And then we'll come back and do our first set of stretch and folds. 30 minutes have gone by and it's time for our first set of stretch and folds. Here's how our dough looks. Before we do that, we're gonna add some salt. So grab your scale and a cup, zero it out, add 16 grams of salt. This is the one I'm using. I find that adding the salt at this point makes the crust so much better. And we're gonna add 20 grams of warm water. Give this a good mix. Grab your dough. I'm just gonna honestly like push little holes in it like this. And we're gonna add our salt now. Just like this, make sure there's no clumps anywhere. And now we're gonna do our first set of stretch and folds. To do this, you're gonna pull like this, one side, and fold it over, just like that. And we're gonna go do this around the bowl. Do this about 10 times for the first set of stretch and folds. Again, you're just gonna stretch and fold it over. Super simple, don't overcomplicate it. This is how our dough is looking. If yours is looking a little shaggier, it's totally okay. We're gonna still do 3 more sets of stretch and folds. So we're gonna cover this up. And again, in 30 minutes, come back and do a set of stretch and folds. Until then, we'll put this back in the oven with the light on. It is time for our second set of stretch and folds. I'm gonna show you how the dough looks. You can see some bubbles are starting to form. I'm only gonna stretch and fold it 4 times now. So I'm gonna grab it from underneath, stretch and fold, just like that. I'm gonna go around the bowl, stretch and fold, stretching and folding. Last one, stretch and fold. Cover this up and I'm gonna put it back in the oven with the light on for another 30 minutes. Time for our third set of stretch and folds. Look at the dough, it's growing so much already. Stretching and folding. Stretching and folding. Dough should be getting a lot thicker here. Stretching and folding. Again, all these we're just doing 4 sets of stretch and folds. Look at this. We're getting there. Cover this up and put it in the oven with the light on for 30 minutes. It's time for our last set of stretch and folds. Look how jiggly the dough is. Again, same thing as before. Stretch and fold. And the dough is a lot more tough now. It's kind of all one piece and almost coming out of the bowl, like it's lifting the bowl up. You see that? Stretch and fold. Now we're gonna cover this up and put it in the oven with the light on for 3 hours. You wanna see a rise in this about like 75%. I like my dough a little overproof, that's just preference. 3 hours has passed and our dough has definitely risen, as you can tell. This should come right off. This is our pre-shape, so we're gonna take our bread flour and our little flour sifter, and we're gonna sift our surface so that it doesn't stick to it. It should fall right out of the bowl. This makes 2 loaves, so we're gonna divide this into 2 pieces. Try to make them equal, it doesn't have to be perfect. So to do our pre-shaping, we're gonna spread this out into a rectangle. Don't rip it, just spread it out as much as you can. You're folding a towel. Fold, fold, and then we're just gonna roll it up. And to make our tension, we're just gonna go like this. We're gonna push and pull, push and pull. And that's our pre-shaping. Let's do this one, so I'll show you again. Spread it out and make a rectangle. Now, fold into the middle, fold into the middle, and roll it up. And it's time to build our tension. So you just push and pull, push and pull. Careful not to tear the top of it, not too much tension. And there we have our 2 pre-shaped loaves. We're gonna let these sit on the counter for 20 minutes and do our final shape. 20 minutes have passed, it's time for our final shaping. Flour your surface again. Flip it over so the top is on the counter. You're gonna do exactly what we did before, just not as much. So stretch it, but not too much. And you wanna roll it in the same shape you had it before. You see it's more like together now. It's not as falling apart. Flip, flip, roll, and then build the tension again. Now you're gonna take your Banneton, and again, all these products are gonna be linked in the description. Flour your Banneton generously. And you're gonna flip it in there with the bottom facing upwards. Take your shower cap, cover this up. I'm gonna flour my Banneton, flip it upside down, stretch it into a rectangle, fold, fold, and then roll it up. And then we're gonna push and pull, push and pull. So now, this is the top, and you're gonna place that side and the bottom like that in your Banneton. Put these in the fridge for 5 to 12 hours. So I'll see you in the morning. Today's baking day. Our loaves have been in the refrigerator for about 10 hours now. The first step is we have to preheat our Dutch ovens. I have 2 here. This was the first one I got. It was super affordable, and I will link both these in the caption. This one is a lot easier to use because you can see it's lower, so it's easier to get the loaf out. It also has this cool design inside that'll be left in the bread. It'll say Le Creuset, but it is a lot more expensive. Once the bread kind of bakes in here, it's definitely harder to pull out. I just have to use a bread sling. I'll bake both of them, one in here and one in here today, so you can see the difference. So we're gonna put these in a 500-degree oven, nothing inside, just so they can preheat, and then we're gonna come back and put our loaves in them. So it is time to finally score and bake. We're not using any parchment paper here, so flour this generously so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Be careful, it's very hot. Now you're gonna flour the top of it as well so you can see your scores. And we're gonna cut an expansion score. I'm gonna cut it like diagonally. And we're gonna cover this up. We're gonna use a bread sling, flip it out, flour, and score. Picking it up and placing it in. These are gonna go in a 500-degree oven for 35 minutes. Then you're gonna take the lid off and lower the oven to 425 for 10 minutes. And just like that, our loaves are done. So flip these out and you're gonna put them onto a cooling rack for about 1 to 2 hours. The other one. This is the end result. You can see this one's a little bit smaller. I guess I didn't separate them evenly, but still looks perfect. You can see this one has the design and the Le Creuset detailing in the bottom, as opposed to this one, it's just flat, which is okay. This recipe was adapted by the Sourdough Mom and a few other creators, and this is what I found works for me.